Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name's Tracy Banter, and this video is about the dual power, putting it back together on this 8000 Ford tractor. It was a little bit difficult to work with. I didn't have, the exact tools that probably it takes to put this together, but it worked out. It is running right now. I've got it painted up. I've been posting some things on Facebook and Instagram of using it, but in the future I'm hoping to use this more baling hay. The view is so much better surrounding me to see what's going on. I still using the 6610, wanting to use it more for utility use and loading hay and things. What I did was I took this off. You may see me taking it off. It's a snap ring. It goes on this shaft, and then the collar goes on first, and then you can see it slid a whole 1/4 of an inch because behind it's the shoulder for the snap ring, because this main shaft will not slide into place with new bearings. The old bearings, it slid out, but this allows me to slide it in now. And then I got to make sure all my thrust washers are good. I got to make sure all my thrust washers are still in line where they hit the gears and the collar. Now the shaft down here is splined where that is right there, and that's what hooks this up. That's hooked up spline to spline, but that them teeth down there, when that collar slides over, it hooks the two up. Okay, I'm going to wedge that gear so it stays put. Then I'll put my washers in place. Wedge that up in there. Then I'll be able to put my snap ring in place. All the teeth have lined up. I could not get this in unless that dropped and this the gear set came forward. There it is. Snapped right in. Okay. That's in. It is good. It's good to kind of check it out. Now the reason that's moving around is because I don't have the bearing support in right here. Once that's in place, it's got a bearing inside the cap, bearing cap. Looking at this picture, this is the main countershaft, bearing cap holder. And where I'm pointing at right now, there's a hole in that. That's the drain hole. So the dual power can drain into that and the oil will go to the back of the transmission. So you see me put the main shaft in, that's the upper part. And after all that's done, then I'll install that cap. But this is the only picture I have of it right now. And there's a tube that hooks into that hole, and it comes out of the bottom of the dual power housing. Okay, now this picture is of the dual power bell housing. There's a gasket behind it that bolts up to the transmission, and there's a bearing in there that goes up against the main shaft. All that's been bolted up, and an earlier video you seen me slide the PTO shaft through the transmission to the back side, and that's what you're looking at, that shaft. And on the left hand side of this picture is the dual power valve. You can barely see it, but it's up in there, and you remember in the earlier video I replaced it with a newer one, an upgrade. That's it. Now I gotta figure what I'm gonna do next. Put the planetary together. Let me put the clutches in there first. They go in there. There's a set of clutches that go right in here. Oh no. There's a piston here and a couple clutches, and then there's a piston here and a couple clutches. So we'll get to that next. Hydraulic fluid in there. Got brand new rings, O-rings on this piston. There's two of them. There's one there and there's one there. Piston goes in first. And in case you didn't notice, there's a whole oil galley hole there on the back side of this piston, and then there's one here. The only thing this could be is a relief. It's this one is where the oil comes in. So I'll try to get this started. I'm sure this is going to be difficult because, well, maybe not. Might go right in. I don't know. It was in there tight. I know that when I took it out. I put hydraulic fluid on those O-rings, soaked them really good. This has to go all the way back before the springs and the there's a limit rod that is evenly spaced in those gaps right here. Sounds like it's hitting the back. Yep. It's in. Alright. Now I'm ready to get the clutches put in here. There's going to be a wave spring, I think, goes in here first. No, there's no wave spring in this one. These are the springs right here. And then there's just a solid piece in there that's evenly spaced, 4 of them, and then springs. But I'm going to put the clutches in first, and then put the springs in individually. And then there's a snap ring that goes in there and holds everything in place. Okay, what I've got is behind this, the piston. Then there is a steel ring in there that has indentations where this goes. Then there's the friction disc. Then there's another floater disc or a spacer. Then there's another friction disc. Then there's the pressure plate. And there are solid studs evenly spaced. I put the 2 on bottom just for whatever reasons. I think that's the best thing to do. And the springs are 1, 2, 3, 4 spacer, or a solid lineup pin is what it's called. 1, 2, 3, 4 spring, then a lineup pin. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that way they're even. Now I'm ready to put on the spring retainer. This will hold the springs back. These are like return springs that open up, that allow it to open up only so far. And then the snap ring goes in. And this is going to be a challenge to do. You got to press them all in to get that started. And it'd be nice if there was 2 people here helping me do this. I'm going to have to get a board and or a piece of metal and push this in and get it started. I'm going to leave the clip down here where I can get to it easily, the open spot to the snap ring. What I've done at this point is I got a metal bar and 2 all thread rods, and got a nut welded to the plate in those 2 locations. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to thread that in and hold that snap ring in place, because that thing is hard to get in. So this is going to be my holding device until I can work that snap ring all the way around. and get it in place. And of course, checking it twice, hammering it and getting it so that it is seated down into that groove, making sure that it's going to stay. Here, the bearing that you see back in there, it seats up against this housing, and then it also seats up against the main shaft right here. There's splines in here, and it comes out and it hooks into that planetary hub, and then everything else kind of drives. I'll show you as we get through it. And of course, there's the PTO shaft. I still have a lot more to go putting things together. That dual power torque multiplier goes in there, but that shaft right there goes all the way to the crankshaft, and when the engine's running, it spins continuously. You see me put together, this is the clutches for the underdrive, putting that snap ring in. Now I'm ready to put a thrust washer in here and the direct drive. This is the direct drive. It's got 3 like plastic piston rings on it. And the old hub did not have this hole in it. So this is an upgrade. The part number on this one is like D2NN 7N483-A. The other one was like C9, but it did not have that hole. And there's been an upgrade of some kind put to it. So when I get my thrust washer, it goes on here. I gotta get it lined up, and I want to push this in so that that clutches will hit this, and then after that I'll show you what's next that goes in. Alright, this is the thrust washer. It's got a tab at the top, and in that shaft in there, it's got a location where it goes. But I gotta put it on. I gotta put it on the direct drive first. Alright, so that there's no dry starts. I've got some petroleum jelly on the O-rings. So the copper side goes down of the thrust washer. It goes down onto the hub. This is kind of a tricky part, getting that thing on there. I'm going to try putting it on there first, see if I can get it to set up in there, because I don't know whether I'm going to hit it or not. I know I said earlier I was going to do it the other way, but see if I can get it to stay up here in this location that it's supposed to be in. That's going to be hard to get it to stay there. That's why I put that jelly on it. Hopefully it stays put. There. Kinda. Gotta put it on thick. Maybe it'd been better if I'd used some heavier grease. Alright, it's staying there. Now, as long as it slides over that and those O-rings go in properly, we're okay. I'm okay. Once that falls forward, I don't know if it's, you know, pull back, see if that thrust washer comes with it, or if it stayed there. Okay, it came with it. So I'm going to put some grease on that instead so it's heavy, because that petroleum jelly is melting. And I don't know if it stayed in there. If you notice, I'm holding on to that clutch pack hub with my finger, my right hand. I don't want it to drop and that thrust washer to fall down, so I'm holding it in place. Okay, this has got the shaft, the sun gear's down inside, and the planetary gears are here. This shaft has to go all the way back to the main shaft. And I gotta try to keep this together. And the sun gear hooks up. The sun gear hooks up to the inner gears. I don't know if you can see them or not. Of the hub. What a trick. Ain't there yet. It slid out of the planetary. Well, can't be there yet. It might, because the planetaries are spinning. Yeah, it is in. I can't turn the planetary gears, so it's inside of the hub of the mechanism there. Now, I really don't want to let this drop downward a little. It can't drop that much. It might slide forward, because I don't want to lose that thrust washer bearing. Well, it's a thrust washer. I don't want it falling down, because there's no way of knowing whether it fell down or not. So It needs to stay up in there. At this point, I need to get the input shaft put on. That's this thing. Right there until I'm up against it. Oh, that's so hard to do, yeah. My fingers are stuck in there. Oh, man. I'll slide it out there. I can't believe I got it in there. Okay, I gotta match all them planetaries to this. Uh-oh. I don't think it went down. Getting there. Not quite done yet because this is the inner seal, and then that is for the PTO. It hooks up to the crank. Ain't quite. I don't think it's there yet. In a way. There it went. I'd say that's in now. Nope, it went again. So there's one more. All right. Let's say that's it. It looks like it's been riding. I think it's safe to let go now. Yeah. There's a pilot bushing that goes here. And then there's another gear that goes into the back of the crank that it catches. I'm ready to put that housing on next. Okay, you seen me put the housing for the planetary on, and that's actually the input shaft. And there's a bearing that goes behind this. This is the cover plate, that's top. I'm putting these bolts in with no Loctite right now, or thread locker. I got the sealant on there, and it's like 85, 90 degrees on there, outdoors, here in the garage. So I want to hurry up and get this seated up against the flange, snug, get them all, you know, evenly, like you're putting a flange together on a piece of pipe or your tire, and torque it just a little bit. And then I'm going to come back one bolt at a time and put the thread locker on. It's got to line up. I keep thinking I need to lift it, but you can't. For the bolt cutter there, it lifts when you press. It's pressing into that bearing is what it's doing. The housing is pressing into that planetary bearing on the outside housing of the planetary. So there it came out. So I'm going to keep torquing this down, and like I said, then I'm going to come back and put some tread locker on it. I think I'm going to use red. I ran out of blue. Yeah, see it moving? It's moving. Over here. See a shaft back and forth. I got every bit of 10 thousandths of an inch, so